Hello, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. It's Follow Everton. I'm Ryan, channel admin and main host here. I've got Jeff with me today to talk about everything to do with Everton Football Club. It's an honour and a privilege to have him on the channel. Jeff, how are you?
I'm all right, mate. Not too bad, thanks.
So we've
Uh,
just spent the last 20 minutes trying to get you set up to be able to bring in the comments as well, Jeff, because it's worthwhile having some extra controls. How did you feel
yeah,
it went?
atrociously badly.
So we're going to put you back in your comfort
Technology
zone.
is not my strong suit, so yeah, we'll figure this out eventually.
Jeff, I've got 20 minutes of your time, and I want to put you back in your comfort zone during this period, and we'll
Thanks very
revisit
much.
the hosting responsibilities uh,
Later, yeah,
another time. There's so much to talk about though in the short space of time. I want to firstly talk about. I would say it's the elephant in the room. Um, massive that the Daily Telegraph is saying that Anthony Gordon is asked to leave Everton Football Club. He wants to go. He wants to join Chelsea. Now, obviously, you've had a lot of discussions on the channel, and I know you're very prominent on Twitter about this. Do you think
yeah.
him actually saying "I want to go" changes the whole perspective, the whole scenario, and makes you think, well, actually, yeah, okay, let's try and work out a deal. If you want to go, we'll let you go. Or do Everton need to stand firm and say, look, no, we're not selling you?
Um, First we have to make the assumption that what has been said is true because we don't know that for a fact yet. Um, some people are reporting that that's what he said. But as ever, the journalists, they've all got their own agendas. So I've not literally heard him say something or the club say anything yet to confirm that. But assuming that that's what he wants, um, I'm of the opinion if someone doesn't want to be here, then get rid of them. Like
Yeah.
Everton is more important than any individual. Like any individual, I don't care who you are. If you don't want to be here, bye.
See, I mean, I personally think this is a really complex situation for Everton in that
Yeah,
you want to be in a position where you have the best up and coming youngsters at the club, which I'd argue Anthony Gordon is one of the biggest prospects in the league of his age. At the same time, it's a lot of money. He may never reach the top potential that takes him into the 60, 70, 80 million category. We're
yeah,
in a financial mess. We haven't got a very effective front line. And so, really, there's quite a few arguments here where you could say, yeah, we want to keep him because we want the best prospects. Yes, his value might increase. Yes, his value might be maintained, even if he stays for 2, 3 more years here. But then you could say, well, that money could be used to get 2, 3, 4 players in terms of the down payments.
yeah,
It also might be the maximum he's ever worth, Anthony
yeah.
Gordon. So it's a difficult one, isn't it, Jeff? And I think him actually saying he wants to go, if true, and I agree with you, there could be an element of bullshit involved there. But if he does want to
Yeah.
go, I think that does force our hand, doesn't it? And
So there's going back to all of the things you've just said there. There's one thing that I said that you said that I don't necessarily agree with. I don't think he's the best player at our club. I don't think he's. I don't think he's in the top five. Like
prospects,
prospects, I don't think he's in the top five. I really
you don't
don't.
think he's the top five prospects of Everton?
No, I really
No.
don't. No, I think I've seen enough of him to know that his end product is limited. He doesn't carry a goal threat. He goes down like Richarlison. Um, yeah, he works hard. That if you literally analyze everything about him, then like everyone says, "Oh yeah, but he works really hard. Oh, he kept us in the division." No, he didn't. How did he keep us in the division? Pickford kept us in the division. um, is Onana better than Gordon? Yeah, by a mile, an absolute country mile. It's not even in the close second. It's way down there. if we're getting 50 million for him, and we've just spent 30 million on Onana, who's better? I think Onana's miles better, and I think he'll probably be worth 100 million. You know, it's one of
I'm
those
glad
where
you've got different opinions on this because I do agree with you about Onana. I think he's the best prospect at the club, but it's hard to make such a strong a judgment after a 10-minute cameo. But going back to Gordon, we're not here to necessarily agree on everything. This is what the channel's about.
no, it's fine. Yeah.
I think he is possibly the best, one of the top prospects in the league for his age, in his position. And I think that is the reason his statistics are poor, are because he's playing in a shit team. And I'm being really frank about that. This Everton team offensively is diabolical. You've got the most inconsistent players there in Demarai Gray. You've got Spurs cast off Dele Alli that will go to. You've got Rondon, who barely cut it in China. You've got Sick Lewin. It's a garbage front three. It's a garbage squad of attackers. I think at the moment, without being too negative, you've got a really nice balance. Adrissa Gay, we'll talk about him. He's coming in. Him and Onana, Iwobi, Decore. I think you've got a good balance in midfield of that type. And I think you've got your defenders boxed off. I don't think the fullbacks are quite elite level, but I think they're only going to get better. So I think it is the upfront that's the concern. And I think Gordon is a player that's suffering by playing with poor players. And I think if you stick him in Chelsea's team, he's inevitably going to get goals and assists playing with better players in a better structure, with an actual style of play and a way of scoring goals.
Yeah, but 50 million is 50 million.
It's a lot of money.
That's not a small amount of money. And yeah, okay, you can say that he is a good prospect. Right, okay. So, is Anthony Gordon a good prospect? Yes. Is he a good player? No. Does he contribute much to the team? No. Has he done anything realistically outside of working his arse off to show that he is at the Rooney level or at even the Barkley level?
No, but Jeff, we're not playing to his strengths at all. You can quite clearly see that Anthony Gordon is the type of winger that would relish from being on the shoulder defender, playing 1v1 with him and tormenting him and getting the ball into the box or cutting inside and shooting. And what's happened now under Lampard for me, and this is, I think Demarai Gray is also falling victim. They're playing as like between the lines. Beating a player, then having to beat him again, and not really having anyone overlapping in support, not really having the options in front, and it doesn't work. So, whilst I agree with you, it's a lot of money, I think he will improve in a good team. If he was playing in Chelsea's team,
the goals but we're not a good team though, and that's the ultimate point. Is up front we aren't a good team. So you basically got to ask you. I mean, there's a difficult thing. I understand the attachment to Anthony Gordon, and I understand that he's got potential. Okay, he's got potential. I've seen him do little bits for the England under-21s.
Yeah.
But my honest opinion is, I haven't seen anything to make me believe that this kid's going to be the best thing since sliced bread. I've not seen it. He scored a couple of scruffy deflected goals. He's got a couple of lucky assists, and he works hard. And he can go past the player. No, hang on. But he goes past the player, right? He goes past the player. But then what does he do? Nothing. Now, he might be in time brilliant, and I'm not saying that he's not potentially going to be brilliant. He could stay here, be brilliant, and that's fine. Like, I'm not like saying he's rubbish or he's never going to be a good player. I'm just looking at a practical point of view of that's an awful lot of money for Everton Football Club. And
Yeah.
if selling him allows us to bring in 3, 4 other players, and that makes Everton Football Club better and makes our team overall better, I'm fine with that because there are other good players. There's other good young players coming through. There's a transfer window still open. We're going to be bringing more players in to add to the situation. And if we're at the stronger at the end of the window than we were at the start, and if we're
Mm.
stronger this coming year than we were last year, that's basically like to me that's the ultimate goal. So if selling a player for £50 million who hasn't really done much yet to justify that price tag makes us a better team overall and a better club financially, um, in line with regulations and all the rest of it, and allows our manager to bring in players that he wants to make us a better overall team, then I'm genuinely fine with that, which might seem horrible, but I'm just practical of it. The last time I cried about a player was Wayne Rooney leaving. I'm not bothered anymore. Like whoever comes and goes, I don't care. I just want Everton to be the best team on the pitch
Yeah.
that we can be.
Not
That's
disputing at all, and going back to what I was, on your comments there, and thanks for everyone watching. By the way, I'll come to the comments in a second. I'm not disputing what you're saying about Anthony Gordon not showing an awful. Some woman's potentially going to crash into me. We're doing a 3-point turn. Anthony Gordon hasn't shown an awful lot yet of end product. I'm not disputing that. I don't
yeah.
think he's better than Damari Gray in terms of end product. But I'm defending him now, and then I'll come on to what I think. I think he's got the work. I think he's tenacious. I think he's infectious. I think he's quick. I think he's got skill. I think in the right environment he will progress as Chelsea want him. He's going to be a class act. Do I think he's a class act right now? No. Do I think he could be a class act? Yes. I do think he's got some really, really good attributes. He's played in a poor team. If you strip the emotion out of it completely, look, I'm not hung up on him because he's not. We've had players well, but more effective than him. 50 million quid would allow us to put 3 or 4 down payments down, Onana style, on a few players. So if you said to me, Ryan, I'll get 50 million, you'll put 10 million down, and we'll secure Terrier first year payment. We'll get Jonathan David, and we'll also get Tammy Abraham, or I'm plucking names out of thin air, or Dembele at Lyon, and we'll get 3 players or 4 players with that money, which we would be financially able to pay for, amortized across the length of their contracts, 3, 4, 5, 6 years. Then fantastic, because the owner can't make a capital injection in. But Anthony Gordon is 100% pure profit on the books, which can then be broken down, and you can buy 3, 4, 5 players. So you're spot on. I'm not disputing that. That's what I would do. Any one business sense would say that's the right thing to do. But there's 2 things here. I don't trust Everton to buy the right players. I don't trust us to spend the money well. I don't trust us to not overpay on these players. I don't trust us to get the right deals. I also don't trust us to get the fee that we deserve for Anthony Gordon, because not necessarily because he is that player now, but because Chelsea are stinking rich and could pay anything they want for him. We could say 65 million, which is what I would be asking for. 65 million. I'd also be asking for a loan for Conor Gallagher with an option to buy for 35 million or 40 million next summer. That's what I'd be doing. I'm not saying he's worth this. He's not. I'm saying this is what Chelsea can pay. This is a prime negotiating stance. If they've got their heart set on him, Jeff, surely we should be milking them dry.
Oh yeah, and I mean that's a slightly different conversation. So, to me, their owner, I can't remember what his name is, but he reminds me of Farhad Moshiri. he's like he's like the idiot with money coming out of his pocket that everyone's going, oh, I'll have a bit of that. I'll have a bit of that. He's got how much? He's going to pay how much for a fullback? 65 million for a fullback from Brighton. Yeah, okay, I'll have some of that. Whatever we can get our hands on. Yeah, fine. If we can get 65 million, fine. But if we only get 50, I'm not going to cry my eyes out about it because it's going to be 50 plus. It's definitely going to be more than that.
Make the deal for us a massive amount of cash. The targets we want are Breuer and Gallagher. Can we use this as a negotiating chip? I'd argue Conor Gallagher straight into the midfield as a box-to-box player with tenacity, press as well. He defends well. He gets forward.
Yeah.
I think he's got more of a potential to make a big impact for us.
Yeah.
And forward
position.
Sorry, Jeff. In the forward positions for us, we can then go and get someone who's going to score goals and assist, which is ultimately what we don't have.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just trying to read the comments as well as
Yeah.
I'm going by.
So yeah,
it's like I said, it's one of those where if you break it all down, if he wants to leave, so let's assume that that's what's been said, that he wants to leave. Then it's up to us to get the best deal we can because there's no point in keeping a player who doesn't want to be here. We could choose to keep him, and I'm not saying he would give less effort next year because he wouldn't. He's not that kind of character. He would work his arse off. But if we can do the best deal that we can, then the secondary thing then is how much can we get and what can we do with it, and I would sort of agree with you and sort of disagree with you. I would agree with you that I wouldn't trust the board to get the best deals, but I would trust Delwall and Frank Lampard to get the best deals and pick the right players. Based on the evidence of what I've seen so far, they seem to know what they're doing. They seem to have a plan for what we're going to be doing going forward. So,
Jeff, on that note, if you really want to steer the conversation down that alley, where is the replacement for Richarlison? Why are we 2 games in the Premier League season, and why have we got a worse goal threat than Nottingham Forest, who've just been promoted? So that's why I haven't got the trust in them at this stage. We sold Richarlison. They knew he was off. They knew he was leaving. So
that's not Thelwall and Frank, though, is it?
Well, the goodwill that we're affording to because of Onana and Cody, yes, I agree. Good signings.
Yeah.
But you goals win games. And so that's why I can't trust them to spend that money just yet because I've not seen a replacement for Richarlison. It's not Dwight McNeil, I can assure you.
No, he is what he is, and it's one of those where I understand your point of view, and I understand, and I don't disagree with anything. We ideally should have had players in before now. We ideally shouldn't be going into a season with no fit strikers. You could say, but DCL got injured literally like the night before the first game, and obviously Rondon was. But
can't make it up.
In the end, we should have brought strikers in. But the reason why I'm affording the patience is because we've done this rodeo so many times where we want the players and we want them now. We want the deals done. Everything's got to be sorted. Oh, we can't afford this, and and it's all kind of like there's pressure all the time to get the deals done now, get them done early, get this, and what we're doing now is, or what it appears that we're doing now is, yeah, we're sacrificing a little bit in the short term to make sure that we do the right deals for the club in every respect, as in bringing the right players in with the right characteristics, the right mentality, the right
Yeah.
hunger for the right price, and maybe it will cost us in the short term. But we're not planning for Europe this year. We just need to be a nice, safe mid-table side. So long as we get all of the business done before the window shuts, the rest of the team is good enough that we're going to keep clean sheets. Our midfield is looking so much better, especially if, as we're going to talk about in a minute, Gana arrives.
Yeah, we'll get that. Sorry,
So
guys.
then, bringing in the right strikers, it is annoying that we haven't brought them in already. But sometimes that isn't our choice. Sometimes it isn't in our hands. Sometimes
Do
it's
you think we're
Brozier, for
waiting there?
example. We're waiting for things to drop into place. That's what I
Yeah.
was just going to say. So, for an example, Gallagher, Brozier, or the players that we're looking at. See, I have a sneaking suspicion that all of this is nonsense. That this has been going on for ages. That his agent has been looking for the move for a long time. That this move is always going to happen sooner or later.
Premature as it seems.
Yes, and I think that there's plans in place to do certain business, and
Yeah.
I think that they've known they've wanted him. We've known that we'll probably sell him, and all of this stuff and noise in the press is a show for the
Mm.
fans, if you know what I mean. I like you. I don't necessarily trust the people behind the scenes either, but like I know the way this game works, and
It's
the,
just looking at the names we're getting linked with, like Maupay. I mean, yes,
yeah,
a squad member with 3 or 4 other forwards.
yeah,
You about Cornet, who's gone to West Ham, and Dennis, who's gone to Forest. Yes, collectively, in with other forwards who are a lot better.
yeah,
Then they're good signings. They'll chip in with goals. But you couldn't say now we're going to sign Neil Maupay, stick him up front, and he'll play 25 games a season, and he's going to score a lot of goals, and he's going to be effective. You couldn't rely on him. He got 8 Premier League goals last season. I'm scared, really. I like the names we've talked about here: Terrier,
yeah,
Jonathan David, Dembele. These
yeah,
sorts of names are going to guarantee you goals. We
yeah,
need 15 to 20 goals from your centre forward, and you need double
yeah,
figures, the 2 wide men. And I
yeah,
think that's what people are saying about the issues with Gordon. And I know there's been a lot of comments. I'm sorry, Jeff. I don't know whether you can bring up a couple of the comments from the very start of the stream for us to talk about, just because I'm mobile on the phone and I lose. There's been that many.
um,
We'll do a small comment segment before we move on to Delhi.
so if you are the club, oh, sorry. So if you're the club and you want to sell and don't want 40% of the fans who don't want to see him pissed off, say he wants to go, that takes the heat off. Yeah, no, I do understand. I do understand that point of there's a game being played in the background,
Mm.
which is all it's as old as time, isn't it? Is like make everyone believe that it's the player's fault and he wants to leave, and it's not. And
I don't think he
misty
wants to.
misty-eyed Bill will do his hand wringing routine and say, "Oh, I love the boy and I didn't want him to leave," but then we sell him anyway. So yeah, I totally get that kind of thing. Toothy, absolutely, I did. As soon as you saw Wayne Rooney, you knew he was world class. Absolutely knew it for a fact. Everyone who saw him did. He was, yeah, he's different. He was generational. Absolutely, no doubt about that.
Mm. So,
So,
guys, just want to briefly say thanks for watching. The 62 watching on YouTube at the moment live.
hello
If
everyone.
you're not already subscribed to Follow Everton, please hit the subscribe button, turn notifications on. Really simple, costs absolutely nothing. and hit the like button. Tell your friends about us. I think we're at 1,320 subscribers last time I looked. So we're going for about 2,000 this year. Jeff, you're getting some really good feedback, really, with the lads, the regulars. Jetterix are saying, great taking the emotion out of the equation and thinking about it logically. I agree. I think he's spot on. I just think this is a super complex scenario. Made a lot easier by the fact if he does want to go. I think it makes everything so straightforward. There's a lot of comments, not necessarily about, about the situation with Gordon. So we'll come back to these if that's okay.
Yeah, no problem.
So also, guys, we've had the information. Dele Alli. Yeah, there you go. 50 million's a sweet spot that's for Wonderlust, regular watcher.
Yeah. For anyone who's watching, by the way, like, as you know, I'm new to this channel and I do not know how to work all this stuff yet. So if I'm missing stuff out or whatever, just give me a little break while I figure it all out, and I'll be better in a few weeks once I know what I'm doing. Thanks.
He's just co-hosting at the moment. He's got access to put banners and stuff up, but he's working his way around the controls.
I'm a truck driver. I'm a truck driver, and technology is not my thing. So it's it'll just take me a few weeks to figure it all out, and then I'll be all right.
You'll get there, Jeff. Don't worry, you're doing a fine job. Thanks for so much for the comments. We do read them all. And I know other people read them as well, so they make a lot of difference to the stream. I'm going to bring them in due course. We're going to go through some of these issues, and then we'll bring up the comments before we wrap things up. I know we said 20 minutes. It was very unrealistic, but we'll move on. Dele Alli then, the second of four pertinent issues in this stream. For me, Jeff,
yeah,
this is a no-brainer. Get him out of the club. He's on 5 million a year. We owe Spurs 10 million if he plays another 6 games. Yeah. And he hasn't shown a lot to make me think, would I buy him for 10 million on a 2-year contract at 100 grand a week? That's how I'm looking at it. Would I buy him now for 10 million and pay him that salary? Absolutely not. I wouldn't have him on that salary at that price, plus add-ons. And that's the risk that we'll have if we play him 7 more appearances. So for me, I would absolutely snap Besiktas' hand off, get him off the books. However, if Lampard is going to play him as the number 10, close to a striker, making late runs into the box, playing off someone, then I think he could be successful. But every time he's played, he's playing left mid. He's stunk the place out left mid, or he's having to play as some sort of deep line playmaker, which I don't think is his strength. Although he's done okay, I don't think that's what Dele Alli's about. Jeff, the floor is yours.
According to what I've been told, he's already gone. So he's no longer our problem. As far as I'm aware, he's gone already. He's like I've seen. There's a Toffee Everton channel in Turkey, and they're saying that he's there. He's literally like agreed a loan deal with a view to a permanent. So that sorts that issue out, over and done with. I think he's a big disappointment. I had high hopes for him because he's one of those players, but you kind of started to get a bit of a James Rodriguez vibe, didn't you? Like, he doesn't like playing after Christmas, and maybe that, like, when he didn't start the first game of this season, I was like, why is Gordon playing up front? Like, what's going on there?
Doesn't fancy him.
It clearly something has happened, because there was all that stuff about, he passed all his bleep tests and all this kind of stuff. He was he's really fit. He's come back really hungry and all of that. And then just seeing bits and pieces, it's just started getting this little reminder in my head of, I remember people used to say stuff like this about James Rodriguez. oh, he's really enthusiastic and he's really up for it and whatever, and then yeah, he's more interested in playing on his PlayStation and whatever, and I kind of thinking, yeah, we have to pay a crap load of money if we keep him and we play him. But if we get rid of him now, Daniel Levy's left holding the bag and we don't owe anything. Happy, happy, joy, joy. We've only had to pay 6 months' wages and he's gone. Fair enough. Fair enough. Happy with that.
January transfer now in high. Bloody hell, what a shit window. Dele Alli, Van der Beek injured, sent him back. Patterson, who wasn't ready, of course, I think he could be the best prospect there. But then El Zaghi, or whatever his name was, didn't play.
El Ghazi.
I'm sure we signed someone else. Just a really, looking back, not a good window. And you think now Thelwell's got a grip of it.
Funnily enough, but this is, I'm going to give Rafa a little bit of praise, but it was all right for him, the window. You know, he well, I mean, whether he was actually responsible for him or not, the two players that we brought in that you would actually deem successful, I know Mr. Kenwright had a big hand in it as well, but Mykolenko and Patterson, they looked good business, but the rest of it was just
we could have got Mykolenko on a free.
Could we?
Because they're allowed to cut short their players' contracts because of the Ukrainian war. I don't know whether that was apparent. I think it might have just been before. But I know Fulham's Israeli international winger Mana Solomon is signed on a 1-year loan because they're allowed to cut the contracts free. I know what you're saying, Mykolenko and Patterson. Yeah, I personally think with Mykolenko, I want to see a hell of a lot more from him going forward. You look at him against Villa.
Yeah.
He was really not that good defensively, and he didn't go beyond his winger to make an option on the overlap or underlap or to provide that width. I just think it's a systematic issue. I don't want to talk too much on that Villa game because we played slow and we've covered it to death. But
yeah,
the window, the January window looked like it was, in hindsight, not the greatest. Yeah. And yeah, I know what you're saying. Let's trust Thelwell. Okay, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt 100% because he's just come in.
He had nothing to do with that window, by the way. He had nothing to do with the January window, so he only arrived in February.
My only major criticism, and I guess it is a real issue, is how we've not signed any real goal threat up front.
Yeah.
The best they could come up with was Dwight McNeil, no goals and 1 assist last season at Burnley. Another struggling team. How we thought he could come to another struggling team, pay 20 million for the privilege and become a world beater. But I think that's a separate topic. I want to go to the comments because otherwise we'll be here all night. The 70 of you watching live, which is brilliant. Thank you, Jeff. You're getting a lot of praise. Jeff is new to the
thanks.
Really upgrading his equipment. I think he needs a background. He could do with a light as well. If anyone wants to sponsor this, you can send a super chat. Send a super chat. I've just put the camera last week. Send a super chat. Send a super comment. Super thanks. Whatever. Everything goes in the channel. Kitty. Make sure everyone's upgrade. I'm sat in the car, not because I don't have the equipment, just because this was a very impromptu video.
He's homeless. He's a homeless man. That's why.
I'm living in the car. I'm really loving all the comments. You got Nikki saying she agrees with Jeff.
Thanks, Nikki.
Nicholas is saying yo. That's from Robbie's patron and friend Robbie. Nogs is saying all good, Jeff. So Jeff, you leave the channel because you're extremely well liked on here. So are we agreeing the Dele Alli one is a good deal?
Yeah. Yeah, we are. Yeah.
Ridiculously light up front, like we've got nothing left. Or we just assuming there's a plan?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, it's one of those where I could end up holding the bag and saying, "Oh my God!" at the end of the transfer window.
I've got nothing left.
I have to assume, and I have to. I mean, at some point, you have to sort of. have a little faith. You know, that there is a plan. Everything that I've seen so far that we've done in terms of the business that we've done in this window, because obviously Thelwell didn't arrive for the last window, so we can't really do anything about it. And Lampard only arrived with like hours of the window left to go, so I can't really blame him for January at all. But everything we've done this summer so far, I'm pretty happy with. There's a couple of things I wouldn't have done. I think loaning out Ellis Sims was a mistake. But I can sort of understand the reason why. If there's a plan that's to develop or whatever, you know what I mean?
Just Mr.
And
Balanced.
sorry,
You're
go on.
Mr. Balanced. You've got Mr.
I-
Positive, Mr. Viking, and Mr. Balanced.
Yeah, I just try and be logical about it. But if you assume that, you know, we've loaned out certain players to give them the experience they need with a plan in place for them to come back. If you look at the window, we concentrated on certain areas that we need to improve the team, and it was like first order of business. Shut the back door. We need some good centre backs. We've brought in some good centre backs, experience, leadership. We need leadership. We've brought in two cracking good leaders. We need energy and fight and we bring in that in Onana in the midfield. I think Gana adds the legs. We need to do the final bit of the business. So that's the next 2 weeks. If we come back here in 2 weeks and we haven't done the rest of the business, you can feel free to slap me around the face.
I'll come in and steal those utensils, and I'll do some bad things to you.
Okay, fair enough. And I'm sure everyone else can do the same as well. But it's one of those where we have a tendency as Everton fans to have our hair on fire. Everything's a crisis and everything's an immediate problem that has to be fixed like yesterday. Otherwise, the world's going to end. I don't want to lose the first three. I don't want to lose the first 3 or 4 games. I don't like the fact that, you know, we've probably given away a few points in the first 2 games that we could have got something out of if we'd have done the business earlier. But I'm not going to hang the whole season and the whole project, if you hate that word or whatever. But if this is a project that Thelwell and Lampard are putting together with a clear strategy of this is what we're trying to do, this is where we're going to go, we're going to get rid of players, we're going to bring players in. At the end of the window, if the team is how I think it's going to be, we're going to be a better team than we were at the start of the window, and we're going to be a better team for the second part of the season, especially after the World Cup. Once everything all beds in and gets going, I think we'll probably have a really strong second half to the season.
We're agreeing we shouldn't have a 4 or 5 game handicap because the recruitment's slow.
Yeah, but sometimes things go the way they go because we got ourselves in the mess, and this is the thing. Is we got ourselves in a mess financially because the previous people running business and the previous managers of the club didn't do their job very well. They bought players they shouldn't have bought. They mismanaged players. They allowed a slack attitude to squirrel away into the club so that we basically became everybody's bitch because we didn't have the fight and we didn't have the heart. It isn't going to be fixed overnight. It's not going to be fixed overnight. Hi, Jasmine. You're all right. But yeah, it's not going to be fixed overnight. It's going to take time. But all of the plans are being put in place to make it happen. So I'm giving them the patience because they've shown me enough to make me think that they deserve our patience. Is that fair enough?
Guys, 77 watching live. Pleasure to have you on this Tuesday. Like, there's nothing better to do but to watch me and Jeff debate Everton. Make sure you're subscribed. If you're not subscribed, then what are you doing here? This is the best content you can find for free on YouTube, without a doubt. In any category, not just Everton Football Club. So hit the like and subscribe button for us. We're going to be here for 20 more minutes, and I mean that seriously. We will be here for 20 more minutes. I'm going to whisk through the comments. Then we're going to talk about Neal Maupay and wrap up on Just a Gana guy. So Kevin's asking, I mean, there's been several hundred comments by the looks of it.
Thanks. That's nice.
This is a really good stream for us, so appreciate it. Kez saying what's happened with Dele Alli. Jeff sources, which are esteemed, I must say myself. He's off Turkey. Everything Everton. Hello, he's saying, or she,
Besiktas.
Yeah, Besiktas. Dele's lost a love of football. I don't think we know, but I think Lampard is a good judge of character, and the fact that he's not played him in any of the games concerns me. Jack's frustrated. He said, why can't he get Dele back to his best? Well, I imagine there's some an element of this, Jack, from Dele's camp wanting him to play first team football. And also, I don't think he fits in the formation here, the 5-2-3. There's no place for him there. He's not really going to play in the 2. He's not going to play in the 3. And look, I don't want us to play this 5-2-3. I absolutely hate 5 at the back unless it's high and wide wing backs and your defenders in the central defensive line can play 1v1. I don't think we have that.
You're in for a long season then, because we are playing that system.
Yeah, we're playing that, and it's going to be Onana and just a guy. We'll come on to that. So there's no place for Dele Alli. Let's be realistic here.
Yeah.
Some great comments here. Just I'm not reading them all out because some of them are not quite relevant, but are good to see. Dina was better, even scored for us. Dave saying Che Adams the answer. No. As a backup, as a squad player, yes. If he's the answer, no. If he's a solution, no. If he's an option, yes. In my opinion. Everything Everton, Onana, Gana, and Gallagher. What a midfield that would be, or am I dreaming? No, I believe that Gallagher is possible. I think it's a deal that will potentially happen later in the window, initially on loan, once Chelsea have brought in their main central midfield target. So I've got full confidence in that potentially happening. Deep Merles is saying Gray's been crap. Yeah, you know, he had eight games at the start of last season where he looked really good, and I'm not sure what we've seen from him since. I just don't think he's another player. We play to his strengths. I'd have him on the last man. I'd have him as an out-and-out winger. I wouldn't have him as this sort of.
He's a bench player
playing between the lines. You'll be saying that about McNeil in 6 weeks. They're all bench players.
Impact sub. Fine. We have to have a squad, don't we?
This is the thing. When you've got no competition, he doesn't have to play well to get his place. When really you want Damari Gray as an option, again, to come in. If he plays well, he starts. If he doesn't do well, he's on the bench as an option.
But if Terrier comes in, he's on the bench, isn't he?
There's a ridiculous amount of comments here today. Keep them coming. They're brilliant. Whip through them. Up to 90 on the stream now. Ellis Sims, championship top scorer. Yeah, I could see him finishing that way. Yeah. Robbie saying Pickford as captain. Jeff, very quickly. Prefer it to go to someone else, more of an outfield player, or are you happy with JP as captain?
I don't like a keeper as captain. I don't. To me, like Tarkowski or Cody, but it's less relevant than it used to be. I think a centre back should be the captain, but either one of those two would do, Cody or Tarkowski. I don't care if they've just arrived. I'm not bothered.
Onana's nailed on captain for me in a couple of seasons. Looks like he's got everything about him.
Yeah.
Very early call, of course. Be sure to subscribe if you just joined us. 92 watching, 97 watching now. If you're just joining live on YouTube or Facebook, go over onto YouTube, search Follow Everton, hit the subscribe button for us. Let's get the subscribers up. Mark's asking about Sims. Can we get him back? The answer to that is no. Eric is saying we made a mistake not buying Dennis. I think 20 million was quite a lot of money for him, Jeff. 1 season in the league. Only Nottingham Forest willing to stump up the money. Or do you think we missed the trick there? Because he's the goal scorer. McNeil's not the goal scorer. Dennis and Cornet scored the goals last season.
Yeah, it's one of those situations, isn't it, where they didn't really have a great history before last season, and they didn't have a great full season. They had a little spell last season, both Dennis and Cornet. They were good for a little bit with no history of anything before that. So
yeah,
they're a risk. They could have been all right, but I think that I'm not going to cry about missing out on them because there's a lot more players out there that we could get, and I don't think any of the other options that we're linked with are going to be a step down from what we've missed out on. If they're that bloody good, why are they going to Nottingham Forest or whatever?
I think the reason we didn't get them is because they've scored and assisted, and that's not really in our remit. We like to go for anyone who doesn't score or assist or have any output. Kadeem is saying hello. I think it's quite a strange agenda, isn't it, for Everton? Hello, it's Denise Barrett Baxendale here. I'm looking for a player in the market. Okay, mustn't be able to score, mustn't be able to assist. Good player, attitude. You could just imagine it's such a low bar we set, isn't it? So many comments. Thank you so much. Mean a lot. Over 100 watching. Frank is saying get 15 million for Dele and piss Spurs off. I think Daniel Levy is going to be very, very frustrated if Everton manage to avoid paying this £10 million fee. He's a master negotiator. You would imagine there's some clause in there that if he's loaned out, we owe them some money. I hope not. I really hope not.
If we're screwing over Daniel Levy, that just makes everything. But that makes everything.
Yes, Jeff.
Sorry, Jeff. You know what you're talking about, mate. Oh, thanks, Mark. Cheers. Very nice of you to say. Yes, and that is exactly the point. Is that we're getting rid of all of these wasters who didn't work and weren't willing to fight, and we're bringing in people who are more likely to, which is, I'm happy with that. Everton agreed deal in principle for Dele Alli. Yeah. Okay, Che Adams, let's have a quick chat about this. Is he the answer to being our first choice number 9? No. But 2 things. 1, he is Premier League experienced. 2, he does score goals. Not a huge amount, but he does score goals. And I think 3 is that he's going to be really cheap. He's going to want to come and play here. And finally, his middle name's Everton.
No.
Yes.
Do you think he's a blue?
No, his middle name is actually Everton.
Is he blue?
No, I think his family are probably West Indian or something like that. It's a common name over in the West Indies, Everton. Used to be a cricket player called Everton Weeks. Everton is quite a common West Indian name. So I think he's probably got West Indian heritage, like his grandparents or something like that. So I think Che Adams
very interesting, Jeff. If you like this knowledge, Jeff, what should they do? What should the viewers do? 110 watching, 114 watching right now. What should the viewers do?
Subscribe and comment, and tell your friends as well. Oh, I'm good at this, me.
Jeff,
presenting skills off the chain.
I've brought you in. 121 watching. I think the stream's going viral. Bob's saying, hi, Ryan and Jeff. Gordon's not starting for Chelsea. Let's take as much money as possible. And Dele can't start as it means a payment for Spurs.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd be surprised if that's why he can't start a game. I'm whizzing through these. I'm not stopping on them for too long because there's too many. I'm really sorry because we've got to wrap up talking about the other two things on the video that we said we would.
You're right,
Spade Mike was doing a money ball and buying players for specific qualities.
Yes.
Kevin agrees with you, Jeff. He says he doesn't want keepers as captain. Jasmine saying, I love the channel, Jeff. It's like a gossip magazine, but for footy.
Nice one. Cheers, Jazz.
Cheers, Jazz. Mark is saying, guys, do you think we're going to go into Saturday's game without a striker? Yes, 100%. I think we're going to go in without a striker. I think it's coming. I think it's all going to go down to the sort of last few days before the window ends.
I do too. I think we're in for a horrendous 2 weeks, and if we don't win on Saturday, there's going to be a massive meltdown. So you just won't see me on Twitter because it's just. Sorry?
Lampard, it's a repeat of last season. He hasn't got his striker and he hasn't got his main central defender, Yerry Mina and Calvert-Lewin. And Decore getting injured. It's a complete repeat. And this is the thing. Yeah. We should see this anyway. We should have known something like this was happening, that we couldn't rely on Mina and Calvert-Lewin. You know.
I wanted him sold in the summer. I've been wanting biscuit legs sold for ages.
He's a top player, but the two of them, honestly, it really winds me up that we've come into the season relying on these two professionals, without sticking all our eggs into sort of the Calvert-Lewin basket as well. And Dublin saying, should we get rid of him in January? Well, I don't see that happening, to be honest with you. I don't see that happening. Whizzing through some conversations between people in the comments. That's good to see the interaction. Denise, you've already got Davies. Ryan, need to send Jeff with 1F and Dan the Disco DJ headset man to follow Everton School to learn how to read out your bloody chat.
Yes. This is true. I'm not going to deny this.
Jetrix is saying I need anxiety meds. That's quite funny. I've needed them before this.
Yeah.
Window.
Oh yeah.
The only decent thing that's happened this season is the game last night where Nunes is headbutting Anderson. He's winding him up the whole game, and he falls for the trap. I mean, you'll get a lot of teams doing that to Nunes. Very, very enjoyable to watch.
I'm just laughing at Dave. Dave said, "Whoa, Jeff, don't mention Rodriguez on here while Ryan is on." Were you a bit of a fan of Hammers, were you, mate?
Yeah, big fan. Quality on the ball.
Amazing player. No doubt about that.
I don't know why we played him right mid. I tell you now, if we'd have had James with Gana and Onana around him providing that legs, and just say to James, you ping that ball left, right, and centre and build it.
I do not forget. Yeah, I do not forget. I've not forgotten Rondon. And to be fair, I mean, he isn't the greatest thing in the world, but I still think he should have started the last game. I'm gonna let Lampard off a little bit. I'm gonna give him a little bit of rope before I start hanging him. But I don't get why he didn't start. I really don't. But that's just yeah. I'm choosing to be kind.
I'm just looking through the comments. They're brilliant. Mark saying, been some stupid decisions this season, sending Dobbin and Sims out on loan. Mark, I actually think they weren't the answer. They weren't ready, and we needed to send them on loan, and these are going to be good loans for them. I think you're trying to find a solution to a problem by causing potentially another issue. I think they've got to go for their development. I genuinely think that. They've made an assessment on them, and we have to respect that. Thanks, Mark. We need a lad like Coleman, and he's a good... sorry. Hugh saying Dele's gone, confirmed.
Was it? Yeah.
Can more people verify that for us, please? Thanks for that information, Hugh. Blue Nose KD saying, should we get gigs on a free?
Yeah. We shall not. Yeah, but let's not go on. Let's not go down that road.
Weston, Davy Westies, one of our regulars, pretty much every stream. He says he puts Che Adams in the Cenk Tosun bracket.
No, I don't do that because I think probably Cenk Tosun is actually a better finisher. And that
And on
better,
that bombshell,
no, wait, a better natural finisher, but didn't have the physical presence, and that's the only reason why we're looking at players like Maupay and players like Che Adams, is because they have the physical presence. They're good in the air. They can hold the ball up. They're not going to score a bang load of goals, but if they're in the box, they're making a nuisance. We can get knockdowns. We can get flick-ons. The striker doesn't have to be the guy who scores the goal. Sometimes you can just create problems in there with your physical presence. So,
in our team, Jeff, with the way it's set up, with the lack of goals in midfield, defense, the striker absolutely has to be the one that scores, and the wide players. And as we've established, our wide players and striker don't score, and I see that's why the Che Adams thing, because we're so reliant on the forwards, it hasn't gone down that well. Mr. Mancu saying Dele is shite. Thank you for that. As you saying, it's a 2-year contract for Idrissa Gueye. I think we knew that was coming. Just very briefly then on Idrissa, because I think we've covered that so many times. It's good, and it's a short-termist signing, but one that makes absolute sense for all parties, isn't it?
Yeah, I've been having a little debate with a few people online about it, and they're saying, "Oh God, if we spend money on him and all," I just see it as a no-brainer because, especially now that we've got rid of Delhi, if you think about the money or wages or whatever that we've saved, if that's what Ghana costs, we've just literally swapped someone who we're not using, who isn't of much value to the team, for someone who will be useful and will be valuable to the team. Because, like, I look at that and think, it will be the born again Lazarus risen from the dead player that everybody loves. Onana and Ghana as a midfield three. I'm all right with that. That's not a bad. That's you've got the fight, you've got creativity, you've got ball carrying, but we do need to sort the forward areas. But that's a decent midfield three. I'm happy enough with that.
And he comes in straight into the team for me, Garner alongside Onana and Iwobi at the tip of them. I mean, I don't know how long we're going to persist with this 5 at the back for. I think it'll get shelved quite quickly. I know you don't want to hear that, Jeff. I think it's going to be shelved. And you know what? I think it'll be a lot down to the fact that he'll want to find a place for Iwobi, Onana, and Doucouré and Gay. I think he's going to want to play his best players. But we'll see. This isn't an internal debate on the formation.
That's fine.
Tonight. We could literally sit for 2 hours talking about it. And I'm sure you're enjoying the content. We've got 116 people watching live. Make sure you subscribe.
Thanks, everyone.
Subscribe right now. Make sure you do it for us, please. Shout out to Jazz. Kevin saying I miss Jazz not being on Twitter anymore since I got banned. Just a little shout out for Jazz. Find that quite amusing because that is my missus. She's more famous than the channel. Mark is saying Forest will be buzzing for Saturday. You'd agree with that, wouldn't you? You think they'll come with a bit of a spring in their step, having beaten West Ham. They'll be coming thinking they can beat us, and rightly so, Jeff. Unfortunately,
yeah, but at the same time, like, they're not that good. I mean, it's one of these where I've seen these teams come along so many times, and it's like, oh, they've got out and bought like 73 players and whatever, and it's like, yeah, okay, in August they're going to be a really good side. Let's see where they are at Christmas. They're basically bottom 5 team, aren't they?
Thanks for that reassurance, Jeff. Much appreciated.
So,
Everything I've been saying. What about Terrier? Is it true we bid 15 million for Gurusai of Rands? I believe, yeah, that's correct. There is a move for him.
There is a move for it, but not 15 million. No, we've refused to bid 12 because he ain't worth it, because he's not very good. Sorry, he's not very good. He's
I love this from Bob.
The same debate that we're having about Che Adams. He's a blunt instrument. He's not a scalpel, so he's just a warm body to cause trouble up the front. But we need the players like Terrier alongside to get the balls off him and whatever. So it's an overall system. But yeah, 10 million euros or something like that, fair enough. But it's not worth much more than that.
Davis was okay. He does nothing.
Yeah, I thought Davis did fine. Yeah.
Did you see that Charles Stevenson tweet about Everton's lack of goals? And it was like Davis 6 goals in 145 games, and it's hard to see where the goals are coming from because none of them have got any pedigree at this club of scoring goals. And I'd argue, Jeff, strongly. He's talking about making a nuisance. I don't care if they make a nuisance. I want goals and assists. I don't care.
Yeah, I do too. No, I do too, and I'm not arguing that case. This next week is basically makes our season or breaks it. We have to get our business right in the next week. So please let it be Brozier. Please let it be Brozier. I still want us to buy Brozier, but I don't know whether it's going to happen. But I think he's the one that we've been after from the start, and I think Gallagher on loan, and possibly the other lad, the Scottish lad, midfielder,
Willie Gilmore,
yeah. I can still see him being a possibility as well. If we're looking at the selection box from Chelsea of who we can bring in,
there's a lot of players there. There's a lot at Chelsea that I think most of their bench would get in our first 11. Certainly all the forwards as well, like Pulisic and.
Would you take what's the striker? Batshuayi. Would you take him?
No.
So
that brings me on to a question very quickly about James Gana. I haven't heard anything about this yet. I think there's been a link that we're in the race. I think that could just be agent talk. I've got to ask you, Jeff, about the move for Neal Maupay at Brighton. The talk is with 15 million. We waited for them to agree a deal with another club. I can't remember the name, and swooped in. Lampard held talks with him personally. 5'8" French striker, can also play on the wing. 8 goals last season.
Who's this, Maupay?
One of those. Yeah.
Right. Okay. 5'8", did you say? Did you say he was 5'8"?
Yeah.
Okay. So we're going to get crosses into the box then, are we, for him? So I presume he's going to be a winger type, but that still doesn't solve the problem of the striker, does it? The only thing I can be honest and say is that.
Are you delighted with the sign of Maupay?
No. But I honestly, he's not someone I've done any research on. I don't really know him enough. He's got Premier League experience. He scores a few goals. I don't really know a whole lot about him. I didn't think we would be looking at someone like him, so I haven't even bothered doing any research. So I'm not going to sit here and pretend that he's the next coming of JC, because God knows. As
I said to you before, if Everton had a really nice settled front three, your Richarlison, Calvert-Lewin, and James-esque, and you knew who they were, and you're going to get goals and assists from them, and the rest of the team has got that really nice balance, Onana, Gay, you've got a team and you're saying, okay, we're going to add in Maxwell Cornet or Neal Maupay. All these players are squad players. They're going to rotate. They're going to come off the bench. They're going to start certain games. Absolutely all for it. But I think what's going to happen is because we're getting linked with these sorts of Che Adamses as well and the Maupays, we're all getting flustered and saying, this isn't good enough to lead the line for us. But we've got to see whether this is going to be just a sort of ad hoc. Sorry, that's not the word I'm looking for. I've completely lost the thought. I'm moving on.
Too.
I've got to see whether these are, signings in isolation to really play for the first 11 week in, week out, or are squad players. A few more comments then before we wrap things up.
Yeah.
What about?
I think it's. Go on. Sorry.
We've got to whiz through these, Jeff.
Now there's a question. There's someone I've been saying for a while. I don't know why we're not looking at Brighton Diaz. He signed. He was a free agent. He signed a 12-month deal. That's the kind of deal you sign if you want to just protect the club that you've come from. So that the Blackburn get a few quid for him if he leaves. But it's not the kind of contract you sign if you plan on being there for a long time. So he's gettable and cheap. I think the release clause is 10 million. He's someone I would definitely look at. I don't see why Brighton Diaz wouldn't be on the list of people that we look at. So, yeah, I agree with whoever just said that.
Jack saying Davies does a job if needs something on when players injured. And thus Spade Mike is saying do a job. We need more than players who do a job. And I agree, just briefly to that. We need players that do more than a job. We've seen doing a job nearly got us relegated. And Tom Davis, a prime example, you saw him for that second Villa goal. He just stops running.
Because he didn't want to get sent off.
Well, he still could track the run, Jeff. He doesn't need to stop. He could follow him in because Holgate doesn't follow him. Tarkovsky comes out when he should go with the runner on the left. Obviously, bad defending all around, but I just think Davis is not really... I don't know what he is.
He's just a skater boy. He said, see you later, boy.
Comment with Winks and Barkley. You just asking, would you like Nias back, Jeff? One word answer.
Umar.
Yeah.
Is that the answer? No. No. God, no.
With saying he's more famous than the channel. Yeah, absolutely. Thus Spain Mike is agreeing with me. Thank you very much. First person to agree with me on the stream today. Gavin,
he's not better.
50-0 and gets Terem Moffey and Martin Terrier.
I don't know anything about Moffey, but Terrier, yeah, definitely. Terem Moffey, I don't know.
Martial, Jeff?
Sorry?
Would you have Anthony Martial?
He's a good player. But, it's one of those situations, isn't it? It's where, some players just, you worry about them. Can you keep their head on straight and can you keep them doing a job kind of thing? I actually heard that somebody tweeted, somebody who lives in Barcelona who's an Everton fan. I think he works at the club. He works at Barcelona. He mentioned Everton to the lad because he wanted out. And he kind of spoke to Everton. I think he contacted Everton about the potential of moving here because he just wants out of Barcelona, doesn't he? So,
look, the thing is with the likes of Anthony Martial, I think you're referring to Memphis Depay.
Oh, sorry, no, that's Memphis Depay. Yeah, you're right. Sorry, I've confused the two. Yeah,
the two of them are experienced forwards that score goals and can play off the left, off the right, or up front, and that's what we need. I'm not saying they are the solutions. I'd prefer us to go for Jonathan David or Terrier, but that profile, of player. I mean, maybe they're not. Maybe the attitudes aren't quite there with them, but you know what I'm getting at. First might be saying New Hibbert. If he starts, we lose. The office is He's having to go at anyone 5'8" or smaller. If you see low crosses across box. Kevin saying Gay's deal to be expected this week, and we made an inquiry for Antoine Semenyo. Are people just making these names up in the comments?
No, I've heard the name Semenyo.
20 million. Is that Ugandan dollars, Kevin? I play Blue Nose Amanda Holden up front on Saturday. She'll distract the Forest events. Love it. Brilliant. Jeff, I've had a nice time speaking with you. I think it's gone really well. This is probably one of the biggest streams we've done in a while. I still don't know whether the Dele Alli deal has gone through. I don't know whether you've got any access to your phone and you can browse your tweet while we're here. And my battery's low. I just want to thank everyone for all the wonderful interaction. If I didn't manage to read out your comments, then I'm sorry about that. There was a lot today, but they don't go unnoticed. Really appreciate it. And of course, if you haven't subscribed, please hit that subscribe button for us. It would be much appreciated. We're growing as a channel, and we like to have you all on with us. Just getting confirmation from Jeffrey with a 1F if the Dele Alli deal is done.
Yeah, basically, the Ali one looks like it's being done. Guy looks like it's done as well. Yeah. So both are looking. Yeah, guy in, Dele Alli out.
Oh no, they're taking our boy.
What, Gordon? Yeah, talk's ongoing for Gordon, according to Mr. Romano. So yeah, he looks like he's going to be out the door soon. So watch this space. It's going to be a busy old. It's going to be busy all week, isn't it?
Good evening, Jeff.
Bill. Oh, hello, Bill.
Well, Everton, brilliant player, Dele, but he's not an Everton boy.
No, he's Gordon. Not.
He's not an Everton boy.
Are you going to be teary-eyed if he leaves, Bill?
No.
No. Right. Okay. Well, we've had good time. We've had good times, though, haven't we?
We've had good times. We've had good times.
Let's get a pundit on.
Yes. Hello, Jeff. Very close. Very delighted to be on the show today to talk about transfers. Have you got any question for me briefly before we end the stream?
Do you own any jackets shorter than knee length?
I do not see. I cannot see the jacket.
That's why you should buy shorter jackets, because you can't see.
You know, in this moment, I'm very happy. I'm looking at the new signing of Dele Alli for Besiktas, and I think very good player. Everton making mistake to let him go.
Is that biased? That's a biased opinion, that, isn't it, Arsene? It's because you like him, really, isn't it?
I don't agree with what Arsene said there. I think it's a great deal.
I know, and I think knee length jackets are fantastic. So yeah, it's fine. How many other impressions do you do? I'm gonna have to get used to this. Shifting over conversations to other people. You kind of lost me there for a minute. It was like, what's going on? Oh, yeah. Right, okay. I'll jump on board with this now. Oh, right. So what's the plans for tonight, right?
We'll save.
Sorry?
No, I'm going home and having a rest now. I was meant to be playing five-a-side. I'm in my. But time to just. I'm a serial Twitter refresher at the moment. I can't get off it.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I'm basically the same at the minute. I'm spending like the whole day on Twitter and on YouTube and like refreshing everything all the time, because it's one of those, isn't it, where it's all going to start happening really, really fast, and you kind of think of once one or two deals go through, it's going to be like a domino. That's going to happen. That's going to happen. That's going to happen. That's going to happen. So, like I say, this time next week, we could be looking at 4 or 5 players in, 4 or 5 players out. Like, the squad's going to have a completely different outlook to it.
Yeah.
So
I'm going to give my closing statement.
go on then. We will fight them on the beaches.
I think off. I think Andre Gomez is off. I think Dele Alli is off.
Yes.
I think Alan is off. I think all 4 of them have offered diddly squat for us.
Rondon?
I don't think he's going to go, no. But I'd be more than...
I've heard that he is.
Oh, well, there you go. There's 5 players there that are not contributing on big money who could go. And then we're getting Gana. Makes sense. And I have faith that we'll bring in. I'm giving them all the benefit of the doubt. I have faith that we're going to bring in some strikers and some wingers that score goals with a reputation on deals such as what we've seen with Onana. That's my closing statement. Jeff, have you got anything you'd like to say to the viewers?
Thank you for your patience while I try and figure out how to do this job properly. I appreciate all of your comments, and thanks very much for thanks very much for all just thanks very much for all the comments, because it's even if I can't figure out how to use this stuff yet, I'm still seeing them all flying by, so that's appreciated. And
you've seen on the stream, it's been a stupendous amount, hasn't there?
Yeah, that's what I say, and that's brilliant, because it's one of those where, like, the whole point of doing this is for the feedback and for like the community of it. So yeah, that's really brilliant. So yeah, thanks, and hopefully I'll get a little bit better at figuring out how to do it all soon. Thanks very much, and up the toffees.
Thanks, guys. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe button for us, Jeff. Absolute pleasure. Blue Cali, thank you so much for coming in. Cookie, make sure you hit the subscribe button for us. That means a lot. Jeff, I'll see you soon. We'll react to any breaking news, of course, as always, here on Follow Everton. We've got a wonderful team behind us. My first time here speaking with Jeff, although I did recruit him. I'm taking full responsibility for identifying great new talent. But that's it from us today. Jeff, what are you going to get up to now? Is it literally just refresh, go on a space with Dan, refresh, go on a space with Dan?
I've literally got about 500,000 messages that have just been buzzing through my phone for the last half an hour, just off people. So yeah, but no, I'm going to shop. I'm going to go to the shop. I'm going to get something to eat, and then yeah, basically I'm going to answer all my messages and my emails. So that's exciting.
Have a lovely evening, Jeff.
Thank you very much, sir. You too. Nice one.
And we'll see you all soon. Take care, guys. Thank you.
Nice one.